All right, let's talk about one of the biggest walls in enterprise AI. It's the one that separates these incredibly powerful cloud platforms from your most valuable data, the data that's locked up tight on-premise. Today, we're going to look at a solution that was purpose-built to create a secure bridge right over that wall, so you can finally unlock your data's potential without ever compromising on security. Let's jump in.
So here's the question, right? The one that probably keeps you up at night if you're a CTO or an IT director. You've got this amazing AI engine in the cloud, just ready to go, but your security and compliance folks have, understandably, built a fortress around your on-premise data. So how in the world do you connect the two without just blowing a hole in that fortress? Well, let's take a look.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to define what we mean by the AI data wall and talk about why the old tools just don't work here. Then we'll introduce the EWII Secure Bridge, and we'll dive right into how its encrypted tunnel actually works. We'll also cover what really makes it different. And finally, we'll show you just how simple it is to get your own systems connected.
So let's start with the big one, the AI data wall. Honestly, this is the challenge that pretty much every large organization runs into the second they try to do anything really meaningful with AI.
It sounds so simple, right? But the implications are just massive. Your AI platform, something like Maria AI, it lives in the cloud. But your data, your crown jewels, the customer records, the financials, that's all in your data center. And the firewall sitting between them, it's doing its job perfectly. And its job is to keep outsiders out. That's the fundamental conflict we're dealing with.
And when you try to bridge that gap, you just hit this brick wall of security mandates. Your security team says, open an inbound port? No way. Your compliance team says, share database credentials with a SaaS provider? Are you crazy? Then, for a lot of you, especially in government or finance, you've got data sovereignty rules, like Canadian Protected B, which mean the data physically cannot leave the country. And let's be real, trying to move huge, constantly changing data sets is just a logistical nightmare anyway.
Okay, so if the direct path is a no-go, what about the tools we've used for years to connect networks? Well, this is where things get painful. Because those old tools, they're just the wrong tool for this job.
I love this quote because it just nails the problem perfectly. A site-to-site VPN? It's the classic answer, but it is massive overkill. You're basically building a giant multi-lane highway between your entire network and a SaaS provider when all you really need is to let one app talk to one database. It's a huge project, it's complex, and it creates a much bigger attack surface than you need.
Let's just put this side by side for a second. The old way means opening inbound ports, which kicks off weeks of security reviews, and it gives broad network access that's a pain to manage. The ideal approach? It flips that completely on its head. It uses outbound-only connections that your security team's going to love. It sets up in minutes, grants a really narrow specific access, and, best of all, you don't need to be a networking genius to use it. And that gap between the old, painful way and the ideal approach, that's exactly where a purpose-built solution comes in. So let's talk about the EWII Secure Bridge.
So, what is EWII? In a nutshell, it's a zero-trust tunneling service, but the keywords here are relay-based and outbound-only. Think of it like this. Instead of opening a door in your firewall and letting the cloud come in, a little agent inside your network makes a secure phone call out to a trusted operator, the relay. That call establishes a totally encrypted channel that your AI can then use to talk to your database, safely and securely.
And this all boils down to three really crucial zeros. Zero firewall changes, because every connection is outbound, looking just like normal web traffic. Zero credential exposure, because your database passwords never ever leave your network. And zero networking expertise needed from your team, because the whole thing is handled by a simple little container. Okay, so that sounds great in theory, but how does it actually work under the hood? For all you technical folks watching, this is where it gets really cool. Let's take a look inside that encrypted tunnel. The whole process is actually really elegant and super secure. First, the agent on your network gets a temporary ID. Think of it like a single-use keycard. There are no permanent passwords to steal. It uses that ID to make an outbound connection to the EWII relay. Once it connects, a secure channel is set up using standard encryption. But then, and this is the critical part, a second layer of encryption gets added on top. It's like a tunnel within a tunnel.
So these 5 features create this incredible defense in depth model. You've got zero trust identity, so no static passwords. You've got 2 layers of encryption, which means even if someone could compromise the relay, your data is still gibberish to them. The automatic fallback means it'll work on basically any network. Multi-region relays keep it fast. And finally, the agent itself is cryptographically signed and unique to you, so you know you're running the real deal. It's a complete security chain, end to end.
And you might be thinking, all this security must slow things down, right? Nope. The typical round trip for a query to go from the AI through the tunnel to your database and all the way back is less than 100 milliseconds. Your database will be the bottleneck, not this connection. I can promise you that.
Now, at this point, you might be thinking, hey, I've heard of tools like ngrok or Cloudflare Tunnel. What's so different here? And that is a fantastic question. The key thing to understand is that EWII is not a general-purpose tool. It was built specifically for this SaaS to database AI use case.
This table really breaks it down. A traditional VPN is bidirectional. It exposes a whole chunk of your network. Those general-purpose tools, they create a public endpoint, a direct door from the internet right to your service. EWII's relay architecture is fundamentally different. It ensures your database is never exposed to the public internet. Period. That, plus the dual encryption and the unique agent model, is why it's built for the high-stakes world of enterprise AI. Okay, so what does this all mean for you, the person who actually has to set this up and manage it? Well, the goal was to make all this incredibly complex security feel incredibly simple to use. So let's walk through your path to connection.
Seriously, it is this easy. Step 1, you define your database connection inside the AI platform's admin panel. Step 2, the system hands you a single, pre-configured Docker Compose file. And Step 3, you run one command, Docker Compose up, on a machine inside your network that can see the database. That's it. A fully encrypted, secure tunnel is up and running in probably less than a minute.
So who is this really for?
Well, it's a total game changer for a few specific groups. Government agencies, especially those in Canada, needing to meet Protected B data residency rules. Banks and other financial institutions with really strict compliance frameworks. Healthcare organizations, of course, protecting sensitive patient data. Basically, it's for any regulated enterprise that has been told no by security every time they've wanted to connect cloud AI to their internal data.
So here's the bottom line. Securely connecting your AI to your on-premise data is no longer some multi-month massive IT project. If this is a challenge you're facing, the best way to see it is in your own environment with a guided pilot. So just ask yourself, what could you unlock if your cloud AI could finally and securely query the data you already have?